So we have one question: how to get out of the animal and hungry ghost realm? If you want to be not in the animal realm or the hungry ghost realm, you must not start to cultivate causes that would put you there. Because when there's a cause, there's an effect. If you have cultivated all these causes leading to that vicious realm, then you will get there. So it's very important that you know causation. In the Buddhist teaching, it is very essential that you have to understand the philosophy of causation. When there is a cause, that cause will lead to an effect. So as I always said, if you want to pass the examination with flying colors, assuming that's the effect you want, you got to build up causes leading to that effect. You have to study hard, you have to attend lectures, you have to take lecture notes, you have to buy the right book to read. I know of some of my fellow students who, after half the semester, they still haven't bought that book. So yeah, it happened. Because I always confronted the question, is what book are we using? Oh, we already gone through half, and you don't know what book we are using? If you don't want to be in the vicious realms, do not get into causes that will lead you there. One of the causes that will lead you to the animal and hungry ghost ram, the two vicious rams, actually there are three. If you always do killing, sexual misconduct, stealing, that's the bodily actions. And so your body is impure because you're carrying out these three behavior: killing, stealing, and sexual misconduct. And how about your mouth? Flattery, cursing, lying, and double tongue language. You know what double tongue language is? The fact is one fact, but to Mr. A, you said this is this. To Mr. B, you said it differently. You have double tongue. And to Mr. A, you said, Mr. B said that you're a nut. And then to Mr. B, you said, Mr. A said that you shouldn't be working in here because he hates you. I mean, you have double tongue. The mouth can perform 4 vicious deeds: lying, cursing, you know, people curse all the time, flatter all the time, flattery, to say something that is not true, flattery. You met someone you dislike, and he looks terrible, and you said, "You look beautiful today." Actually, it's terrible. But you said, "You look beautiful today." You just want to please him. You're not telling the truth. And thought, how about a thought? A thought is full of greediness, ill will, and ignorance. And some people may argue, "I've never done any bodily misdeeds like that. I never kill, I never steal, I never commit sexual misconduct." You never kill? You're still eating meat. You are indirectly supporting slaughtering of animals for food. And millions of animals were slaughtered every day to be on the table for food. And you supported that. When I was a kid, I used to be playing in a soccer field in Hong Kong. And in Hong Kong, we have a place called a Kowloon district in Hong Kong. And it's quite close to a slaughterhouse. So I was at that time about 12 or 13. We like to play soccer ball after school. And because it's so close to a slaughterhouse, we also have teenagers and workers from the slaughterhouse, from those people who slaughter animals for profession. They come to play soccer ball too. So I mixed with them and I know a few things from them. And I still remember he said, well, we're killing pigs every day, and how many you kill? 30, 40? So how many kills today? 60? So they kill 50, 60 pigs per day. And did you say the words to them? Yes, I did. You know what did they say to them? What did they say to them? To the pigs before they kill them? Let me translate that Chinese poem. Mr. Pig, pig, you must understand. That's the first sentence. Before killing, you know how they kill? They drive them through an electrocuted threshold door, and they got shocked. And sometimes they use gun, and sometimes they don't even want to use electric guns. They just kill. But they stab a knife into the pig's throat and slice it all the way. They're very skillful. What do they do before they slaughter a pig? They utter a few words to the pig, because they were also afraid, because they don't want the pigs to in the next reincarnations to get them. So it's the pigs, you must understand. If they don't eat, I won't have to kill you. Yeah. If they don't eat, I don't have to kill you. Because they eat, I have to kill you. So if you want to get to revenge, don't get us, get them. They utter something like that for every slaughtered. I still, because there's a translation now, I have to think how this translates. Yeah, if you want to revenge, get those who eat you, not me, because I'm just doing a profession. For every animal that you eat that they slaughtered, there's a cost in there. You can't get away. So you also carried the karma. After all, you're only eating the corpse of slaughtered bodies. What are you eating? A pig's been slaughtered, and you just eat the leftover, the body left over. If you don't put seasoning and soy sauce in it, you won't eat it. You won't cook. If they don't cook it, just raw and cook it, dip it in hot water and take it out, you won't eat it. So, if you want to get out of the animal and hungry goes around, don't cultivate causes that will lead you over there. You must not kill, you must not commit sexual misconduct. For people who commit sexual misconduct, according to some sutras, they reincarnate into yin yang. What's next? What's a good translation for yin yang? Oh, Canada geese. Canada geese, because they don't have to choose their partners. They can do that kind of thing anytime they want. So they reincarnate into animals. So sexual misconduct have a lot of retributions involved with it. If you have done that, don't panic, repent. If you don't know that it's wrong, you're deepening the roots. If you know that is wrong and you want to correct it, change it, do the repentance every day. It would purify the seeds. Remember, there are seeds in your Alaya consciousness. Seeds produce manifest activities. Manifest activities perfume the seeds. The three processes of seeds, manifest activities, and perfuming simultaneously affect each other, with causes and effects occurring simultaneously. Seek your repentance every day. It will purify the seeds. Whatever wrongs you have done, don't panic about it. Repent on it. You make a vow that you won't do it again. If you don't make a vow that you won't do it again, the seeds are not purifying. It's just like the seeds are there, but if you're telling yourself, I'm not going to do it again, then the seeds would not produce the manifest activities. And the manifest activities would not go back to perfume the seeds. Remember, for every manifest activity, it just happen and it go away. It goes back to perfume your own alaya consciousness. This world is a world of desire. We call it Kama Dhatu. We have the Kama Dhatu, Rupa Dhatu, and Arupa Dhatu. Remember? Kama Dhatu is world dominated by desires. Eating desires, sexual desires, desires for pleasurable things. This is the desire realm. And then the next higher realm is Rupa realm without desires. They don't have desires. It's good not to have desires, you know. They don't have desires. The mental afflictions with them are very few. They're very happy. They are millionfold happier than us. You are happy when you do not have mental afflictions. You're not happy not because you have won the lotto ticket. Oh, I won the lotto ticket of $5 million, I'm happy. That's not happiness. The happiness comes when you are totally free of mental afflictions. I still remember that poem. I only got one question, so I can linger on for a poem. I have a poem, a Chinese poem, I utter in Cantonese. 春有百花，秋有月. Spring has various flowers, and autumn has the bright moon. 夏有涼風，冬有雪. Summer has soothing breeze, and winter has white snow. So the 4 seasons. 若無閒事掛心頭. If you do not even have a single trace of mental affliction, 便是人間好時節. That's the best season. Not the snow, not the gentle breeze, not anything else. If you do not have one single trace of mental affliction, no jealousy, no hatred, no greediness, no fraudulence, no negligence, no depressions, no hatred, no ill will, nothing like that, and you are one purity, that's the best season. When we were born in this world, we have dominating desires that we brought with us into this world. So in our seats, we already have those desires. Mostly bad desires. If you carry out bad deeds, with emphasis on hatred, jealousy, greediness, you name it, those deeds produce volitional activities, produce manifest activities, produce. They don't just produce and that is it. They go back to perfume your seats, to reinforce your seats, so that you get deeper and deeper into it. That goes into very deep psychology. I still remember a murder case in Hong Kong many years ago, where a group of teenagers, male, 3 or 4, they illegally imprisoned a teenage girl because they're in bad companies, of course, and they on drugs and things like that. And somehow the boys, the teenage boys, thought that the teenage girls betrayed them somehow, and they start to beat her up, and as a punishment, and imprison her for a few days. The first day they had a lot of yelling and shouting, and the second day a little bit of beating, the third day more beating, the fourth day more beating. It's been influencing, overwhelmed them with the notion of beating and revenge that they finally killed the girl. And later they interviewed the teenage boy and said, we didn't have any intention to kill, but we don't know why. As time goes on, it builds up that all of a sudden they killed the girl. They were life imprisoned now in Hong Kong, as far as I remember. So it goes back to perfume it, and you don't know what you're doing. Don't let that perfuming happen to you. So watch your behavior, watch your thought, watch your speech. That's Buddhism. Not just about, oh, Buddha bless me, I want to have riches, I want to have health. No. understand yourself. The Buddhist teaching is to understand yourself and resolve the problems within you. You got some additions to make?
Well, just in terms of those boys that you talked about.
Yeah.
We saw a manifestation of that here in Vancouver.
Yeah.
We refer to it now as the Stanley Cup riot that took place.
Oh, yes.
Where a lot of teenage children were standing out there on the street, and before they knew it, they were caught up in it all. Asked them why they did it, they don't know.
Yeah.
But they did it.
Yeah.
They're sorry and they apologized, but they did it.
Most of them may be good kids.
Yeah.
Very normal kids. It is somehow that an agitation have come up to them, they're overwhelmed by it, and in their egoistic feeling inside the alaya consciousness, that ill will revolt comes out to them, and they were overwhelmed by it. And that's the reason why some criminals, when they get caught, and they were interviewed by their own attorney for their protection, the attorney honestly asked them, "Why do you do that?" He said, "I don't know. I can't control myself. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't have intention to kill that man or that lady. Please help me. I don't intend to kill," but the killings were already been committed at that time. And I still remember many years ago, there was a man who killed the whole family members. And he was so remorseful that he wished the execution to be performed as soon as possible so that he feel more comfortable with it. Now, how can anybody have that conscience of killing his own family members? He must have been influenced, and some people call it possession by demon or something like that.
What about the Shafia? The Shafia murders that happened in Ontario just recently, which were...
Sophia murder?
Shafia was the household name.
Oh.
And it was the Afghani family where the father, in an honor killing, killed 3 of his daughters and his wife.
Oh.
That just happened recently. It's been in the news an awful lot.
Yeah.
It's done an awful lot of people asking a lot of questions for people who immigrate, bringing some of those beliefs from other countries.
Yeah, so this is a world of desires that we already have brought our bad habits into this life. And when the opportunity comes, it all reveal themselves and get you into trouble. And now the Buddha introduced the Buddhist teachings to us and say, stop that. Purify yourself. Stop doing that. So it's been very fortunate for all of us here to be able to pick up the Buddhist teaching. Because if you don't, you probably would do something differently. Yeah.
There are a couple of men in the United States who refer to themselves as Dharma brothers. They are the Dharma brothers, and they go to federal prisons and spend time. They hold retreats with lifers.
Yeah.
These men will never get out with them.
Yeah.
And a common comment from these men after 40 days in retreat is, I used to think that it was everybody else's fault that I'm here.
Yeah.
And through this experience, I've come to understand I put myself here.
Yeah.
That was an awakening.
Yeah. It's just like, don't blame your environment. Don't blame the objects. It's you who perceive the object. It's the subjective transformation of that object through your alaya consciousness, through your manos and manas consciousness, and that's the way you perceive it. That's where you do it subjectively. Subjectively that means do it within you. So you created it. You create your hell, you create your paradise. And you have a choice. You don't want to create hell. So this is a world of suffering. And we must understand suffering. I still remember, I don't know how many years back, there was a lady, I was talking about suffering, and he said, no, I don't believe in suffering. We said, the victims in the animal realms, the dogs, the cows and horses and rats, don't they suffering? No. In my next life, I want to be a butterfly. I can fly around, and he wants to be a butterfly. And then what happened if a naughty boy pick your wings, put it on your table, and tie it with a thread, and then let you fly, and get you under control so that you can see the beautiful butterfly under control, and they pull you, and they pull your legs off, and you're dead on the ground, and then the little boy uses his foot to crash on your body. Is it good to be a butterfly? He wants to be a butterfly. Still better than a pig, I guess. Yeah. You end up on somebody else's dinner table. So there are people who are ignorant. There are people who don't understand life is suffering. Well, understanding life is suffering is not negative. People may say, the Buddhists are very negative. You always talk about suffering. Suffering is not, it's a fact in life. When you're always confronted with death, with sickness, with old age, with a lot of these things, catastrophes and tsunamis, how can you say these are not sufferings? But by understanding these sufferings, we surpass these sufferings. We learn to lift these sufferings and surpass sufferings to an enlightened level. By understanding sufferings, you want to get away from it. If you don't understand suffering, you don't even know you're in suffering. By understanding the hardship of prison, you want to get away from it. Understand the freedom when you're outside, you want to get away. If you're born in prison, you don't even know there's freedom outside. So you must be educated that there's freedom outside. A frog living under the well will never see the sky. They only see the sky in a circle. Oh, that's the sky. But the sky is without limit. Yes? Well, yeah.
I have a question. So, if these people that are murderers or sexual misconduct, when they pass, when they die, do they automatically go into the hellbound?
People who commit all this, the three vicious, all these deeds, not necessarily. We can cause and effect. Causality is like a whole labyrinth of causes and effect. You cannot easily identify one for the other. It's like a network of things. It also depends on the maturity of some causes and the immaturity of others. Say if I committed killings and sexual misconduct and quite a bit of misdeeds, quite a bit of non-meritorious deeds in this life, and at the juncture of death, because I have a cause that I would encounter some of these people who are from a Buddhist organization, Buddhist organization, and they send a whole team of hospice care people coming up, and then one of this guy, Lee, for example, one of this guys is giving me a Dharma talk, and then I say, oh yeah, those are the things that I have done wrong. I'm not going to do them again. And because he feels that he's sorry about it, he won't do it again. And this group is chanting Nam Amitabha for me. And they said that if you can be reborn in there, if you have that one purity of mind, if you have that concentration, you can be reborn in there. So I don't want to think about only bad things. I don't want to think about all the sexual misconduct, the stealing, the lying, all these things I have done. I don't want to think about that. I want to think about this land I would go to. And I also want to think about some of the good deeds I have done. So I think about that. And then maybe at that juncture, you pass your last breath. And then maybe reborn in the Pure Land. But how about the karma that you haven't repaid? Then you come back to repay it. In other words, you still go to there first, to that Pure Land first, when you learn to become the Buddha, and then somehow in time, then you come back to repay whatever you should have paid. So the causes depends on what is opportune for that at that juncture moment. So it's absolutely meritorious to organize a hospital care team to chant, to give Dharma talk for the person who is at the juncture of death, because you could change his future. So you did a good deed for helping the doctor that passed away. He gave you a nice present, his last piece of briefcase, right? So he really appreciates what you have done for him. Yeah, and people usually don't want to go to hospice care because they don't want to see sorrowful scenes like people passing away. They want to go to a pub. They want to go to movies. Who would go to hospitals to visit the dying patients to comfort them? But there are people who do it. Lee is doing it, and Daphne is doing it too in India. clutching the hands of people who passed away, and not just one, a few, right? In a whole group. Her function going there to India, Calcutta, right? Calcutta, is to comfort dying patients, and she's been there for 3 months. I don't know how many. Yes.
When do you know that a person is dying? I have a daughter who has leukaemia disease, and she was given 3 months, and now it's 2 years.
Yeah, yeah.
When does
Oh yeah, sometimes you don't know. I still remember once I was on a mission, somebody told me that there was a dying patient right at Burnaby. So we went over there, and the group said, it's dying right away. He's my teacher. He helped me to, he built 1 or 2 cares for the teenagers who are on drugs, and I was one of those teenagers. And I really appreciate it, and I thank you. I don't want to see him dying, so please come to save him. Come to say come to chant so that he will be born in the Pure Land. So out of compassion, not knowing whether it's a time for him to pass away yet, so we went to his house. And this man was lying in there, and we're chanting Nam Mô Tho Pho, Nam Mô Tho Pho. And we've been chanting for 3 hours, and the man's still, still holding on his breath. Now, we don't have a naughty guy to say, oh, why don't you go, so we don't have to leave early. No, we don't have a guy saying that, but you're in trouble. So it was breathing his last, and then he was trying to sit up and say, I want to pass away in a sitting posture. So he sit up for another half hour, and definitely, if someone is dying, he won't have the energy to get up and cross his leg in a meditative position. So I wanted to pass away in a meditative position. So he was sitting like that for half an hour, and we're chanting and chanting and hoping that he can pass away in that position, and we fail. And so he changed his position, he lie down again. So we say, okay, let's carry on. And now, I think we chant for about 3 hours. More than that, 5 hours. And finally, the man whispered in his wife's ears. And then his wife say, oh, come out. And so we went out and say, he said, my husband said, that is it. You can go home. So, okay. So we say, okay, we are relatively relieved. So I went home. And after about 15 days, 1 week, the man passed away. So that was not a time that he should pass away. So we can say that if that patient is already in hospital care, that means any time death is expected. And we can say, oh, he may linger on for 5 weeks or for 6 weeks. Then he shouldn't be put in hospital care because we don't know. But we do everything possible to make sure that he's dying away with grace. He's dying in the best possible way, in the most comfortable way. And to us who believe in the Buddhist teaching, we want him to go to the Pure Land. And it's very good cause that we can make someone going to the Pure Land. Because if Mr. A, because of our efforts, has gone to the Pure Land, the time in the Pure Land is so, I'm talking about merits and benefits. And it's out of my imagination only. If that man passed away and is to Pure Land, the time there, he spent about 1 year in there. And he could have been enlightened by Amitabha. And to us here, he will come back to save you. He'll come back to benefit you. He knows that, oh, this group of people, he helped me out, and I come back to repay them. So they come back to be your teacher. So you have built up a lot of connections, good connections. Finally, you benefit yourself. You think that you just help others without benefiting yourself. Actually, by helping others, you're helping yourself. So it's good to be in the hospital care.